Welcome back to the Pro Sports Podcasters on YouTube. My name is Cobe, and today I want to take a look at how things have significantly changed on NFL All Day. And what I'm really talking about here is my personal strategy, and what I was expecting to get from NFL All Day has actually changed. Because the market had gone all over the place mid-season, and it's starting to bounce back, and they're working on improving the now 2 levels of playbook. And as a result of that, values had dropped significantly. Everyone's aware of this. If you collect NFL All Day, some of you were probably panicking because of the rare value depreciation. Now, I was kind of lucky in a way in that during the first half of the NFL season, I was looking to profit off my rares at that point. Right? I wasn't really looking to acquire rares. I was looking to profit off rares because, again, at that point, my goal was to complete as many challenges as possible, and that meant a greater number of moments in my collection versus a quality collection of moments, right? So the regular common moments were the ones that really paid huge dividends for me, and I was selling those into challenges, using them to complete challenges, and more importantly, the rares I was winning, I was flipping. Any opportunity I had, I was trying to get rid of them because they weren't really fitting my strategy, and as a result of that, I was lucky enough to sell a number of rares at a very good value. Okay, I sold some of my rares at maybe not their highest, but close to it. So that fed my wallet and allowed me to have the opportunity to purchase the commons I required to fulfill challenges, but more importantly, gave me options. And when the market crashed, I had X amount of dollars in my wallet, and I thought, what am I going to do with it? Because it's a buyer's market, right? When things are low, buy. Unless you think the entire platform is dead, which, attached to the NFL, I knew that wasn't going to be the case. So I was looking to buy, but what should I buy? And for the first time since joining NFL All Day, I actually considered buying a legendary. And I went ahead and did that. I went ahead and bought my first legendary. I was never really of the opinion that I would ever collect legendaries in NFL All Day because I wasn't looking to invest a ridiculous sum of money, right? I wasn't making a big investment here. I was more about the fan experience and the just fun collecting experience. So legendaries didn't really factor into that. But when the prices came way down, it only made sense to me because rares can plummet in value. Commons can plummet in value. But legendaries don't really. They don't. And it's that rarity attached to them. It's the fact that there's less than 100 of them that makes them so sought after. And those are the actual moments that, no matter what happens, will retain value. So I figured at that point, I might as well buy something that will keep its value guaranteed, and that's why I bought a legendary. But if you're going to buy a legendary, and you're like me and you don't want to just unload a fair chunk of your savings in order to build a legendary collection, you're just doing it as a fan and wanting to add something to your collection you know will retain value long term, which legendary should you buy? And these are the ones I came up with, and there's a few criteria that I'm looking at here. So first of all, it's got to be a relevant player. You don't want to just buy any legendary. When I say relevant, I mean preferably young, obviously active. I'm not going after historical legendaries here. On a competitive team, that significantly helps. That will add to it. Next, I looked at value, right? So you don't want to spend too much. There are still legendaries that will cost you a fair chunk of money in order to buy them. So I'm looking at legendaries at the lower end of the cost scale. And this isn't necessarily bad legendaries, to be honest with you. The prices are all over the place. What determined the price was probably their initial release date, right? So if it's a Series 2, it probably came out at a lower price. 1, because it's Series 2. 2, because probably got released during a down cycle, right? So that helps. So that initial starting value sometimes determines where it's going to be for quite some time because people aren't looking at the actual collectability of the player. They're just looking at, well, what does the market say? And the market is wrong most of the time. So value is a big one for me. And then future viability, right? So you want them to be currently relevant, but you want them to have future relevance as well. So again, age plays into that, but also health plays into that. You want to look at their health history too. So I've come up with a few that I think might be viable targets for you if you're thinking about buying a legendary right now. Which one should you get? And they cover a number of different positions. I came up with actually just 4 that I personally would target, one of which I actually have. And I also included a few honorable mentions because they miss out on something. In most cases, they're a bad team fit or maybe have injury history. But we'll go with the 4 that I picked. And I'm going to begin with the number 1 pick of the 2022 draft, and that's Trayvon Walker. And there's your value right there, right? He's the number 1 overall pick. It's his all-day debut, which even adds to it even greater, because not only is it the first pick of the 2022 draft, but it's his first moment on the platform, and it's a legendary. There aren't a lot of those. Okay, most of the all-day debuts tend to be rares or commons. It's very unusual you have them as a legendary. So the fact that Trayvon Walker was released first as a legendary makes him additionally collectible. He's on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that used to be a bad thing. But now that team is starting to come together. Trevor Lawrence is coming into his own. They're on a 6-game win streak while I'm recording this. They're going to make the playoffs. That team's going to have some good seasons ahead. And look beyond Trayvon Walker. They've done very well with their picks over the last few years. They have what could become one of the top defenses in the league. Everyone focuses on Trevor Lawrence, but that defense is sick. And it's just getting better. And Trayvon Walker is raw, right? He's a raw prospect. But there's a reason he took him first overall, and he's only going to get better. So getting him now, and he's at, let me check this, $639 floor. $639 floor. For a legendary, that's a deal, right? That's a deal. To me, anything under $1,000 is pretty much a deal when it comes to legendaries. So I like Trayvon Walker as a potential pick here. You also got to look at the way the league goes because it's a pass-first league now, right? You got more games in the season, higher scores. Trayvon Walker is a sack specialist. He fits right into that, right? That's one of those defensive positions you should be targeting for value and for collectability. The next is another defensive player, and it goes to the secondary in the defense, and that's Trevon Diggs. Right? We're looking at cornerbacks here, and again, pass first league. Trayvon Diggs is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Period. He's not getting as much attention this season because he's had a little bit of injury concerns, and that is kind of the reason why he's a so-so for me here, but at the price, he's $629. Again, it's an absolute steal. Right? These are young players. Walker is only 22 years old. Diggs is, how old is he, Diggs? 24 years old. They're young. They got a lot of seasons ahead. And speaking of seasons, last season, Trayvon Diggs was the top interception cornerback. He recorded 11 interceptions. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Total ball hawk here. So you got to like Trayvon Diggs. He's a Dallas Cowboy, right? America's team. There's going to be all this additional attention on him because of that. Casual fans will end up knowing who Trayvon Diggs is because he's a Dallas Cowboy. So that makes him additionally collectible. So I really like Trayvon Diggs. He's definitely a good fit here as far as a investment collectible. And again, like he's one of the cheapest guys on this list. I think he is. He is the cheapest guy on this list. $629. Like, absolute steal. Now I'm going to move on to my first offensive player, and this is the actual player I purchased. I got A.J. Brown. Now, A.J. Brown is currently at $780 floor, which is a bonus to me because I bought him about a month back for $400. So that tells you these legendaries are already starting to recoup value. A lot of the other moments on the platform are sitting around their floors where they've been for quite some time, but the legendaries are starting to creep back up because people are seeing the same thing I'm seeing, which is value long term. At 780, A.J. Brown, still a complete steal. Complete steal. So what do you get with A.J. Brown? Well, you get one of the best wide receivers, most dominant physical wide receivers in the league. He was the teammate of DK Metcalf at Ole Miss, and Metcalf is a beast, right? He's a beast, but A.J. Brown actually went ahead of him in the draft because Metcalf had more injury concerns than A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown was a more polished product coming out of college. And he's shown that. This guy is a touchdown monster. He's got a couple of seasons already with double-digit touchdowns, including this one. He's on the Philadelphia Eagles, which are on a tear right now and look to be one of the top NFC teams going forward. So you gotta like his positioning, the team he's on. It's a football town in a big way. A.J. Brown's going to be collectible for quite some time, right? He's making great money there. He's a key piece of the offense. Hurts looks like he absolutely loves the connection to him, and he's a beast. Sure, he plays a very physical game, so he's going to miss a little bit of time probably every season. But when he's on the field, he's dominant. So he's a worthwhile investment. That's why I went ahead and made it. And then my last player is also an offensive player, and it's the only quarterback on this list, and it's Lamar Jackson. And I shouldn't even have to explain why Lamar Jackson is a worthwhile investment. He's the closest to $1,000. He's $970. And there actually is another top-tier quarterback that's less expensive than him, but there was no way I could justify the difference in price. And that's Tua Tagovailoa. Tua is about $840. He's a little over $100 less expensive than Lamar Jackson. But Lamar Jackson, again, talking about a football town in Baltimore, right? He's the leader of the Baltimore Ravens. He is a dual threat quarterback, and you see that in his moment. It's well represented. He can get as many yards in a game with his feet as he can with his arm. And I love this moment because it showcases both perfectly. He is a MVP, right? A league MVP. A ridiculous season. And I think it's a season he can repeat later on in his career. Again, very young. Lamar Jackson's only 25 years old. He's got time to do a lot. And he's got all the tools. Quite often, he'll be referred to as the most athletic player on the field as a quarterback. Lamar Jackson is a freak with unlimited potential. So, less than $1,000. Quarterback, which is, the focus of the entire league. A former league MVP with the ability to do it all. Come on. That's a no-brainer. Lamar Jackson is an obviously perfect investment if you're looking to really break the bank in the future for value. So I had to include him on the list, right? Now, I got a few honorable mentions. I want to go over them. I already mentioned Tua Tagovailoa. He's the least expensive, truly starting quarterback, franchise quarterback on this list. He's got serious injury concerns. I still don't 100% trust the Miami Dolphins organization. So there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts there. But for like $840, again, he's a quarterback. If you believe in Tua, you're a fan of the Dolphins, no-brainer to me. Then I've got Patrick Surtain II. Okay, so right now there's a question about who's the better cornerback in the league. Number one, is it Patrick Surtain or, is it Sauce Gardner? Sauce Gardner's getting all kinds of hype because he's a rookie. And let's be honest, he gets a lot of opportunity as a New York Jet to disrupt plays because their defense isn't the most solid thing in the league. So he's got a lot of opportunity there. But I actually think Patrick Surtain II is a better cornerback. And it's not because I'm a Denver Broncos fan. I just, watching them play, I think he's the better cornerback. Both of them are probably top 5 cornerbacks in the league. So you can't really go wrong with either. But Patrick Surtain, what you're getting here is you're getting his all-day debut. Again, another one of those opportunities to get an all-day debut as a legendary. It's just amazing, right? He's inexpensive. He's $725 for the legendary. That's, again, total score. If cornerbacks are your thing, that's someone you want to be looking at. Also with him, I've got Kenneth Walker III, right? Now, I was very hesitant to put running backs on this list. There are quite a few running backs in general that are a good price as a legendary right now. Quite a few. Some big names. Joe Mixon is part of that list, right, of affordable running backs as legendaries. But I went with Kenneth Walker III again because rookie, right? It's his rookie season. It's an all-day debut. Like, same thing with Patrick Surtain, actually. Rookie season again, it's Series 1. So, again, rookie season, all-day debut. These are triple badgers. It's hard to ignore that when it comes to their future value. It's just I was touchy about putting a running back on my main list because it isn't a running backs league anymore. It really isn't. And they are the most susceptible to injury. So you got to worry that something happens that's tragic and they're unable to play at the level you need them to play at, and suddenly that legendary is no longer sought after. So that's why I put it as an honorable mention. And then my last one is Aiden Hutchinson. So Aiden Hutchinson went second in the 2022 draft overall. He went right after Trayvon Walker. I actually thought he should have gone ahead of Trayvon Walker because he's a more complete product coming into the league, but Jacksonville looked at the potential freak ability of Trayvon Walker and decided to go with the more raw product there. But Aiden Hutchinson is amazing. Absolute amazing. Knows how to get after the quarterback again and again and again. But unfortunately for him, the second overall pick went to the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions have a long history of failure, and they haven't looked that much better. At least their offense is beginning to produce, but they don't have the same ceiling as the Jacksonville Jaguars do, and he's the second overall pick versus the third. Again, they're both all-day debut, triple badge rookies, so there's a lot of collectability there, but being on the Detroit Lions seriously hinders his long-term value, so that's why I have him as honorable mention. Let me know if there's anyone that you're looking at as adding for your first legendary moment. Anyone on this list intrigue you that you think you would go after? Or are you still going to avoid legendaries altogether and focus elsewhere? Because rares are slowly beginning to climb back. Will they eventually reach their true value again? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Till next time.